Colleagues, today I rise in opposition to this legislation before us. I know that an environmental rules review committee and a permit review committee sound like decision-making bodies that would have the purpose of keeping our natural resources pristine and Michiganders safe, but they actually would have the opposite effect. These bills hand over DEQ oversight and the fate of Michigan's natural resources, such as clean drinking water, to the very hands of the industries the agency is set up to monitor and regulate, and who stand to profit in many cases from discharging pollutants into our air and our water. Let me be clear. I believe that most businesses don't intentionally engage in practices that hurt people or the environment. The vast majority of business owners, especially those with strong ties to local communities, do the right thing. But businesses rightly place a high priority on profit, shareholder returns, and competitive advantage. And sometimes, in pursuit of these priorities, they fail to act responsibly, and they engage in practices that harm people or the environment. And in too many cases, this priority on profit or on competitive advantage incentivizes a business to hide past practices, to minimize or even lie about the true harm done by their businesses, resulting in a failure to take responsibility for their actions. We've seen that happen before, and we have to make sure it doesn't happen again. Government is uniquely situated in terms of both responsibility and authority to ensure that businesses operate in a manner that does not harm human health or the environment. In fact, the Michigan Constitution states in Article 4, Section 52, "The conservation and development of the natural resources of the state are hereby declared to be of paramount public concern in the interest of the health, safety, and general welfare of the people." It goes on to state, "The legislature shall provide for the protection of the air, water, and other natural resources of the state from pollution, impairment, and destruction." You'll note that the Constitution provides for these protections in the interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the people. And it places the obligation for providing such protections with the legislature. What the supporters of this legislation don't seem to understand is that this is why we have a Department of Environmental Quality. To fulfill our constitutional obligation to our constituents, we have a department that develops rules and permits for industries like oil, gas, manufacturing, and agriculture, and for very good reasons. The benefits of good government rules have been obvious for generations. For instance, without laws like the Clean Air Act of 1970 and the Clean Water Act 2 years later, and without the regulations that implemented them, we would have a much dirtier and sicker country. As one analyst put it, rivers would still be catching fire, more oil spills would be killing oceans, fish would be inedible because of toxins in their flesh, many more of our children would get sick or die from asthma caused by air pollution. Cancer would be as common as the common cold, our water would be unsafe to drink, and every day would be a bad air day. We need look no further than the PFAS contamination in Kent County to see the impact of corporate pollution. Thousands of people now find themselves with tap water contaminated with dangerous chemicals and the health problems that come with it. There's water we can't drink, fish we can't eat, and farm fields where toxic sludge was spread. And so many unanswered questions about who should have been looking out for the people for all those years. Colleagues, we all swore an oath to uphold the Constitution when we were sworn into this office. I cannot support this legislation because I take very seriously my obligation to preserve and protect the health, safety, and well-being of the residents of our state. I cannot support this legislation because our majestic lakes, our forests, our rivers and streams, and our rolling dunes cannot be replaced, and our economy depends on them. We must not risk grievous consequences by putting oversight of Michigan's environmental decisions or appeals and the health of our citizens into the hands of the very industries regulated by the DEQ. Michigan's hardworking families deserve better. Parents need to know if it is safe to give their children a drink of water from the tap or swim in the lake near their home without fearing it will lead to learning difficulties, health impairments, disease, or even death. The only way we can keep our promise to protect our constituents is to ensure that we have an independent and robust DEQ, to create certainty for businesses, to weed out bad actors, to reduce the chances that companies engaged in irresponsible practices will gain an unfair advantage over businesses that follow the rules. So let's be clear. A vote in favor of this legislation is a vote for polluters. A vote in favor of these bills puts our environment and the health of Michigan families in jeopardy. I refuse to support this legislation, and I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do the same.